Hey, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the ActionCAST. So, social media is this cloud of things we do not understand. Do I post? When do I post? What do I post? What can I expect from my results? Well, today we are going to dive into all of that with a social media master. So stay tuned and be engaged because this is the ActionCast and it's starting right now. Nick, thank you so much for coming on. It is such an absolute pleasure to have you on the ActionCast. As always, you are our social media marketing master here at Home Care Ops. We love to have you on the show because the wisdom and information you give us is so timely and it's so for right now. Thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Oh man, Clint, thanks for having me. What an amazing, warm welcome. I love it. So grateful to be here. You guys are amazing. Your community is awesome. So it's a true privilege to share what I know.
Oh man, it is our privilege and our honor. So welcome for those of you just joining us on the ActionCast. I'm Clint Nobles, operational methodologist, and here at the ActionCast, we take you behind the scenes of what it takes to be an agency owner and operator in the home care industry. So get ready and buckle up because it's time to take action and get results. So today is all about social media. We've gotten so many questions through agencies across America about social media. Obviously, over the past little bit, we have learned how valuable social media can be. And I will say this also, we have learned how hurtful social media can also be to our businesses. So with this understanding, we have come into a world where now we need to get good really quick. Because if we're going to see results, we want to see results that we're controlling. So today we're diving into social media. And this show is all about the simple way to get more home care leads using social media. And I don't know about you out there, but simple is how I love to work. I don't want to work complex. I don't want to work confusing. I want to work simple and get the best results possible. So remember, engage with us. Go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Authorize your account if you haven't already so we can see your awesome face in the comments. So, Nick, let's get into this. Let's talk about social media here. And this is a topic that you absolutely love. Like, you live, breathe, and eat social media marketing and becoming a master at this. And I've always wondered why. Why latch onto social media? It's something that seems like it changes all the time and you never know what's coming next. So what did Nick Bontanabas say? You know what? This is it. This is what I'm going to dominate.
Yeah, well, so it was funny because getting started, it was more just something that I was learning and I was confident about speaking about, and so I spoke for the first time at a conference in 2016, educating home care business owners. I was like 23, 24, speaking with people who were twice my age in the room. And through that process, a big part of it was, leveraging social media for building relationships. And, at that event, there were so many people that came up to me and I connected with, and it became not just something that I talk about and I teach, but something that I actually live. And it's this aspect that, and the reason why I love social media so much is because it won't change. It's always going to be the fundamental piece that is building relationships. And so the apps may change, there may be different social media platforms that you use, but the format, the foundational principles of social media is to build relationships. And in home care, it's even more essential to be able to make sure that you're creating this trust, you're building relationships, you're doing collaboration. So much of goes into this, but even just outside of business for a second here, like I love social media because it gets me an opportunity to be a part of people's lives that I wouldn't normally get to be a part of. I have friends that are across the country on the East Coast where I'm from. I live in San Diego, and a lot of them are starting families, and having kids. So naturally, I'm not going to be talking with them too much, but I get to be a part of their lives. I get to engage with them. I get to see pictures of their kids. Like, I get to see vacations they're going on. Like, I love that stuff. I eat it up because, again, it makes me feel more in touch, and I can be connected with so many more people. And from the business aspect, the more that we can incorporate and connect with more people and create relationships with more people, the more that people have awareness of who we are, what we do, and all of the facets that come with understanding business. But again, circling back to that core foundation, it comes to this relationship business. When people know you and like you, they want to work with you. They want to do business. They want to refer you. They want to figure out ways to connect, to work together. And so the more vocal and active we are on social media, the more transparent we become. And then we're able to create stronger relationships. I mean, the amount of people that I have never met in person that I consider to be really close friends is just like insane because of social media. Like, I'm actually going to Arizona in a few weeks to stay at this person's house, like, and spend a whole week with him. We're even going to be sharing a hotel room. Like, never met the guy. Never met him in person.
And I love how you bring it to its simplest form, because in our minds, we see social media as something that always changes. And I love how you said, the apps may change, all this stuff happens, but in reality, the fundamental core values of it really don't. I love that simplicity of understanding of this, what seems to be such a complex world. So let's dig into this. Now, for those of you just joining us, we've got a lot of people hopping on here. We're with Nick Bontanibus, our social media marketing master here and the Home Care Ops Nation. And I want to get into expectations. Now, you and I talk about expectations all of the time. And with social media, this is something that we're wanting to get more home care leads, right? So I know you have an incredible workshop coming up that we'll talk about in a little bit, but on how to actually like generate these incredible home care leads. And so this is a topic that you hear a ton, right? How can I get more leads? But I want to understand from an owner's capacity, right? What is my expectation here? So I post a social media post, and now am I going to have, now can I expect 15 new calls from this? Like, how do I need to shape my understanding of expectations here?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a big part of this too. Social media is not your, end all be all marketing strategy. It's really about leveraging it and combining it with your direct referral marketing and using it as a collaborative standpoint in a team. And it shouldn't be something that you're spending hours upon hours, because that's what I think people think. They think social media is this, insane thing that we got to spend a bunch of time on. It's like, no, my students know that they can easily create social media content, show up consistently, and not spend a ton of time on it, especially as a busy owner. But the idea that I often see is so many owners want to outsource this and say, hey, just like do my social media, or they hire a marketing rep that's like brand new and they're like, I want you to take over my social media, but then they don't actually have a strategy. And so they're telling somebody who doesn't know the business at all because they've been there for like 3 weeks, and then also doesn't have any experience in social media marketing. They just have social media. That doesn't make you a social media expert because you have social media. It's a whole other element. And so we cannot outsource or delegate a social media strategy to another organization or an intern. Like, this is our front facing. This is what people are seeing. This is what people are looking at. This is our online presence. And people often will refer to social media in regards to looking up businesses and whether or not they want to do business with them. And so when we start to realize, wow, this is actually a pretty important job, we shouldn't be just delegating this to some company that does cookie cutter posts for you, or delegating to intern, there has to be a strategy that's incorporated and trained. And as the owner, you want that message to come from you from the top. But that doesn't mean that you have to be the one doing all the work either. But the strategy and the overseeing should be done from you. This is your business. You want it to be represent you in the best possible manner. Now, that being said, before we're actually even leveraging and starting to post on social media, in order to actually track, to getting to your question, I know I went on a little tangent there, but to get to your question, all right, when it comes to leads, there has to be a lead process, right? So I see this mistake all the time. I constantly, it's almost like I could have a whole job going to people's sites, home care sites, and telling them the exact same thing over and over again, which is stop posting your website and your phone number on social media posts. Stop it. Stop. It does not work. First off, all social media accounts like sites do not like links because they make money off of advertising. And so if you're taking them off their platform, they're losing money. So anything that's a link that takes them elsewhere, especially if it's like a YouTube link, oh my God, they hate YouTube. That's their competitor. No one's going to see that post at all. And so that's not how we generate leads. A lot of times when we think about leads, we think about, oh, someone's contacting us for services. No, that's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm teaching either. Yes, we do want that. We want people to pick up the phone. We want people to call us. And that's a whole other element of like, when we're getting someone to our site, are they converting? Are we getting them to contact us? But the thing to understand is that an actual lead can be a name and an email address, which is a lot easier to get than necessarily trying to get their phone number. Because so often when someone comes to you for home care services, all right, most of the time when they're calling you, they need help, like right away, right? It's like, I need help. My loved one's getting discharged from the hospital. We need some support right now. And the thing is, that is one piece, but there are a ton of people coming to your website already or checking out your social media that you have no idea even exist. And that's the huge audience that we are missing the boat on in collecting that data. And so what's really powerful about this is that if we have a lead magnet that we can create that's going to get people onto our list so that we can then market them via email. All right. We got to own your audience, but now they're on our list and we can nurture them to then get them to the point where we want to get them. So like we have them over here. They have no idea who we are. All right. And we want to get them to call us and sign up for services. There's a lot of stuff in the middle that people keep trying to skip.
You'll love this because just yesterday we had our brainstorming session in the Action Leader Experience. It was phenomenal. It was fantastic. Like, it's one of the best we've had. And we were in our breakout rooms where we get in there and we brainstorm on how to help support and encourage our action leaders. And someone was talking about recruiting. And we were talking about marketing for it, how to do this. And obviously social media posts come up because they're doing job ads and everything. And lo and behold, one of our action leaders, Dawn, come on and she said, we do these lead magnets. And she's talking about, the coaching and stuff that you do with lead magnets and all of this. And they started thinking about how they could create lead magnets for their recruiting side, not just client side. And while we were going into this, and I was sitting there thinking, I was like, man, this is so great, because now we are looking at conversions in a whole new world. We're seeing conversions as not just a transaction of monetary value, but a building of relationships. And this is something that is so vital when we go to really digging into the numbers of what we do. When we are looking at numbers, and I'd love to get your feedback on this. So when we're looking at numbers and we're going over them for results, something I always tell our action leaders and my master operators is that a master operator understands that they evaluate based on the cause of results, not
Mm,
just the results. And this applies to so much in life, as most things do, but this applies to so much areas of life. But it seems to especially apply to social media. And if you're joining us just now on the Action Cast, we're breaking down all things social media. We're talking about the simple way to get more home care leads using social media. And Nick, understanding this, finding the cause, comes into play when we are dealing with social media, because we put up a post, and I hear this a lot. I've tried social media, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I've tried social media. It's, pooey, 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 doesn't work at all. And now I'm only going with what I've always known. So, how can we look at this and when we post something, evaluate our results based on causes? So, this is very important, obviously, with social media. But how can we look at this and say, okay, you've tried social media before, but let's look at why it didn't work? So, how do you kind of walk people through that?
yeah. The first thing to really understand, and this is kind of all aspects of business and marketing, is really looking at the lifetime value of a customer and, what it takes to acquire somebody. And so often somebody may be following you for 6 months, a year before they even take action on calling you for services. And so this idea of social media is that we're staying in front of the people that we want to stay in front of. And when it comes to kind of really evaluating and looking at what's working, what's not working. A big thing is always like when somebody says social media doesn't work, it's like, no, it definitely works. You just have to know how to use it. The analogy I always love to use is like, if you have a hammer and it can be used to sculpt a masterpiece, but it also can be used for destruction. And so it's
Oh,
this
that's so good.
idea that if we're using the tool properly, that it's going to get such better results. But most of the time, that what people are doing on social media is they post on social media and they say, we offer in-home services and we can help your senior get loved one, and here's our phone number on our website. Like that's your post. So if you continue to treat social media like it's a billboard and that you're just this constant ad board, then you're going to consistently get zero results from it. I can guarantee that, because nobody's going to want to follow you if you're just posting ads all the time. All right? It's like the worst. If you think about it from a logic, imagine going to a channel on TV and it's just all ads. You're like, I wonder when the show's going to start. And then, nope, it's just more
Just
ads going
You
on
know,
and on.
it makes me think of the friend that we all have. Now, you're talking about relationships, social media being based in relationships. So let's think about this in a friend capacity. So we all have that friend who is awesome at everything. Like, they're always great at everything. Whether they really are or not, they feel like my son is this way right now. He's 10 years old, and currently he is the best person to do anything. Like, there's nothing that he is not the best at. So in life, how do we feel talking to someone if every time we talk to them, it's always about what they can do, what they're about, what services they are awesome at? We have to think of this in a relationship term. And if we're always just posting, hey, I'm the best at this, well, that's going to get drowned out. So I really like that. So now we've talked a little bit about setting expectations, understanding that up front we have to set expectations, and we need to really revise in some ways what our expectations or our understanding of those expectations are, right? We're not posting something to instantly get a call for services. We're posting something to create a relationship foundation. And then we've also talked about, okay, so I've tried this before and it just doesn't work. Well, evaluate the cause of why it didn't work. What are the reasons behind why it didn't work? Were you consistent with it? right? And I know something you preach, teach, and coach is consistency. You have to be consistent. You have to create consistency in what you do. And I think this comes to a really great moment. Now, if you're multitasking, if you're out there doing whatever, I want you to stop for just a moment and I want you to really focus in here, because what we're fixing to talk about here is something that will revolutionize your social media efforts and results. And what we're diving into is how to actually get results. All right. So we're looking at social media and we're saying, okay, so I'm going to post. And I know some people say you post what average is like 3 times a day or
Right.
something
Yeah.
like that. Right. I'm
Yeah.
not doing that.
No,
Right. I have a 9-year-old, I have a 10-year-old, I have a wife,
I
a
don't
life,
even
I
do
have a business. Right.
that.
I'm not going to do that. But how can I create consistency and really see results out of what I'm doing? And is there a way that I can use what really drives me in life to do this so that I'm not posting about things that I don't care about?
Yeah. So many great things to go off of there. The first thing, and when you really think about from a social media element in what you're sharing, and so when we think about this aspect of what do people want, and when you look at what's being posted on social media, we're not competing with, the franchise down the street or the independent mom and pop shop on the other side of the block. We're competing when it comes to social media against kids eating Tide Pods and cat videos, and
So
celebrities.
true. So
And
true.
so when we think about what's going to work on social media, we don't want to look at what our competitors are doing. We want to look at who we're competing with on social media, because you're also competing against people following their friends and family, their videos. And so the more organic and authentic that we can be about our businesses, about who we are as a person, the more that you're going to be able to connect and break down these barriers. People don't get on board with logos. They don't get on board with stock photos. They get on board with people, real people doing the work. I mean, on the last workshop I hosted, one of the students posted a picture based on what I was teaching of a picture of his wife, who was the owner, and the story. And that video and that photo got shared 27 times in 24 hours. And if you looked at all of his other posts, he's like, why is this not working? And then boom, I tell him to do one thing, and that post gets 27 posts just by simply putting his wife's face in it, because all of your followers are following you as the owner or you as the people. And so as you bring on team members, your team members are inviting people that they know. And so it becomes this environment and a community of people that you actually know, and they want to see you. Just like I was talking about earlier, I want to see my friends and their family and what they're doing. That's what we want to, have a good representation of us. And so that selfie and showing yourself is so impactful. Now, to what you were saying, and how we can take things that we're passionate about, things that we want to speak at, it's going to be such better content than just trying to post things about whatever or what we think we're supposed to post. If you post what you think you're supposed to post, then there's nothing in it. There's nothing that's valuable. It just becomes this like something that you don't even want to read, right? Like, why would you post something and share something that isn't actually something that you would want to engage with, that you find valuable, that you would be willing to share with someone else? And so when we're evaluating what we're posting, really think about, is this something that somebody would want to share? Is this something that someone would be like, wow, this is so valuable. This is entertaining. This is engaging. This is informative. And really, really think about that and how you're providing value, how your social media is a resource for your audience, because
So
you're going to get so much better results.
let's unpack this just a little bit, because when it comes to posting, and I think this is a big, there's a big misconception here that you can help clear up for us. because obviously we have our business profiles and our business pages, and we have our personal pages. And I love my kids. Anybody that knows me knows that I love my kids and I love my family most of all in my life, right? And there's always pictures of my kids, always pictures of my family. But there's also another great love of my life, and that's smoking meat. I love to smoke barbecue and to do barbecues, host barbecues. Like, I really do. It's a huge love of mine. So, how do I know what to post on my business page? Do I put up pictures of my kids? Do I put up pictures of me smoking meat, or what is appropriate posting for a business page?
Yeah. Before we dive into that, I can't answer any of your questions directly, so I have to give some context first. So the first thing is really understanding that there is a difference between your personal and business page. So also, if you have a personal page that's your business, that's a mistake already. I know I see that a lot also, because it takes away from truly being able to leverage that personal page, because there's so much value in that. And I've had students of mine where they'll share a video on their business page and they're like, oh, it's not doing that great. And I'm like, well, did you share it to your personal page? And they're like, I don't really want to do that. I'm like, do it. And then they do it. And then they get, like, all of a sudden their reach just skyrockets and it gets in so many more people. There's comments, there's likes, and there's all this stuff going on. It's like, oh my gosh, why is this happening? And like the main reason why this happens is because, as I mentioned earlier, it's a business. Social media is a business. So if you have a business page, they want your money. So if you want to get in front of, and that's a whole other like topic in itself that I teach on. But this idea of having a personal page and a business page allows us to utilize them both together as a collaborative standpoint, where you're sharing content from your business page to your personal page. Now, you don't want to share everything, right? You want to share things that are the personal aspects, or things that you find are really important, or things that you really took the time on to share. And so the idea of the personal page is really letting people know who you are. And there's a good representation of like how much content that you're sharing should be business and how much is personal. So generally I like to think of it almost like 80 20 from a personal page, in like, just letting people know that you're posting, you're sharing business stuff, and we're reminding people, hey, this is what I do. But then there's also plenty of personal stuff. Now, the thing about the business thing that you kind of brought up, you love smoking meats, and I love that. And what's so cool is that that's human. That's something that people can get engaged with. That's something that people can, relate to. And so if we're not speaking to our audience and creating that collaborative aspect, then we're missing a huge opportunity. And so what we can do is we can integrate our interests and hobbies into our own marketing. So like an example, what you could do is you showcase a cooking video where you are using analogies, metaphors in how that relates to senior care. And so now we're incorporating this interest that showcases like what you love, and then how it correlates to educating them about things that they should know about senior care. And so the more that we can incorporate the things that we love and that become part of our own personal brand, the more that we're going to be able to stand out and truly get people to know them. So like an example with myself is like, I talk a ton about personal development. And a lot of times I've thought, I'm like, well, is this really like social media related? Does this take away from what I'm trying to teach and brand myself as? But the thing is, I love it so much, and it's such a part of me. And people really love and enjoy when I talk about personal development topics, things that are making people feel more grateful each day, things that make people more productive, happier, habits, like all of these things that go into how I'm living my life and how it's helped me. So again, providing value in the things that I'm doing. I'm not saying, hey, look at me, this is great. It's like, this is some things that have been super valuable. And if you implement it as well, it'll be valuable for you as well. And so the more that we start to really think about from our messaging and how we make it about them, the more successful it's going to be as well. Like you even talked about this with caregivers. And that's a huge part. I see it all the time. We're hiring. We offer great support for our team. Stop talking about yourself. Nobody wants to hear it, right? We want to talk about them. What is this beneficial for them? And so, and this goes with everything that we post. Like if you're talking about fall prevention, don't say things like, hey, we're so excited to talk about fall prevention. It's like, no, that's not engaging at all, right? Because then it's about you. How does fall prevention even matter for your audience?
Could it be said that that post fell short? There you go. Boom, boom. I'm here all week. Something we did. You talk about the kitchen thing, and as we kind of come into the close here, I want to put this in perspective because something we did in our home care agency was obviously I love to cook. I love it. And when I come into home care and I was like, what? We do meal prep? Oh, this is fantastic. Like I started like instantly in the backside, we started having all kind of things with our clients where we were teaching them about how to actually, easily prepare meals. We were teaching family caregivers how to do this. And so Jess and I started thinking about how can we utilize social media here? How can we really get the most out of what we're doing? This was incredible for us. We created something called Nobility Kitchen. Now, our care agency was called Nobility Care Solutions, and we created something called Nobility Kitchen. And we would record our care providers, right, doing simple meal prep and talking about how this is a really good way to get nutrition into your loved ones, how to the top 5 nutrition facts you need to know about seniors, making sure how they could get water or liquids if they didn't really want to drink or they had trouble swallowing, right? So all of this stuff played into Nobility Kitchen. And we thought, all right, and to use our home care ops vernacular here, how can I master operator this? How can I kick this up a notch? How can I elevate what we're doing? So we started digging into it, and we started inviting our referral partners on. And we would do these little cooking segments, or we would talk about what nutrition or how they played into it. Not just doctors. We had a local handyman come on and talk about the best way that you could design a cabinet, or if you're reforming a cabinet for someone who now is in a wheelchair, how to handle this, right? What's the best way of doing this? So it went out to everything that we did. And a local news source picked up on it. Now, remember, we were just posting, sharing to our personal pages. It was gaining momentum. A local news source picked it up and invited us to come on their weekly cooking show that they did on the weekends and talk about what we were doing. Now, all this started because I love barbecue. I love to cook, right? So digging into what we love is really the simple way to get more home care leads from using social media. It's understanding that it's about relationships, that you're building relationships first, not monetary exchanges, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about setting those expectations on the front end. And I love what you said about that, where you talked about understanding your expectation means you recognize why something is happening, not just that it is happening. I love that. And then let's end this thing with mistakes. All right? So, from your social media marketing mastermind here, I cannot let this moment pass without knowing we found out what we can do. But in life, we're so scared of what we can't do or what we shouldn't do. So let's talk about 2 things that social media marketing has for mistakes. What are 2 things that happen as social media marketing mistakes?
Yeah, so I touched on this a little bit. The first one really is thinking that this can be delegated or outsourced. It can be delegated once you have the strategy onto your team, and I recommend that. That's the whole strategy that I bring. Is it's about how we can create this system in house. But if we're thinking, I don't want to deal with this, like, do you think that that's gonna get results? Huh. What do you think? It's just like, if you think that you're just going to be like, here you go, let me throw money at this, that will work. Yeah, great. Yeah, good strategy. Let me know how that works out for you. It's when we start to realize, all right, we want to be different, we want to stand out, we want to make sure that we're being seen. We can't be doing the same thing that other people are doing. We need to be willing to step out, which leads to the next thing, a huge missed opportunity, a huge mistake that people aren't doing, using and leveraging video. And I think the biggest thing really comes down to thinking that it has to be this complex thing. It's this belief that it has to be this high produced, super fancy video. And that's just a lie. It is not true. It is not true. You do not have to fake that you're this big company, because guess what? I know somebody who paid $10,000 for a 1-minute commercial. That, to me, is a astronomical mistake in leveraging and how you're spending your money, because you could have went live on that and then spent $100 on that advertising, and I guarantee it would have performed better than that commercial. And so it's this idea that we feel that it needs to be this production, and it doesn't. It can be as simple as jumping on the camera and talking to your audience. Your face is your best representation. I talked about how that selfie, that picture of the owner, got so much reach. And the same thing goes with video, except it's not stagnant. You're moving. Things are happening. So it's going to naturally grab people's attention. I love sharing the stat that video gets 1,200%, 1,200% more shares than text and images combined. It's the same reason why TikTok is so popular, Instagram Reels. It's a video format. People love video. And so if we're not leveraging this, or we're not utilizing this in all aspects of our marketing, whether it be to gain clients, whether it be to communicate with referral sources, to recruit caregivers, we are missing out on this huge opportunity and thinking it needs to be perfect. It does not. It can be very simple. It can be as simple as you jumping on, talking to the camera, and that's it. And so when we really think about being strategic and really getting the most out of social media, think about how you can be different. If you're doing the same thing as everyone else, then you're going to blend in like everyone else.
One of the best things I have seen recently is one of my master operators loves her dogs. She loves her dogs. And they're awesome dogs. They're super cute. But she wanted to create this awareness that utilizing these puppies, right? And so she started creating this incredible marketing strategy of utilizing her puppies to showcase senior events, to showcase facts about senior events. And so she gave her puppies, screen names for what they needed to be. And it was like Senior Susie Says, and it would have a picture of her puppy and then this fun fact. And she started utilizing and creating this personality with her puppies that became incredibly recognizable. And it was so amazing, right? It was so good. And I love that, because it took something that was so personal to her, but she formed it in a professional way. And this comes to a new segment that I'm super excited about in the Action Cast. And it's called What is Jess Excited About? So, all right. So, I am excited about this. Nick, you've gotten so much great information here, and we actually have a ton of questions coming in asking about, what content do you recommend, and obviously we're coming to the end here, and we can't get to all of these incredible questions, but you have a workshop coming up. Like you have a workshop coming up, and it is a workshop designed for creating leads, like understanding how to create leads in this home care world, right? So, home care digital leads workshop from the home care marketing master here. It's September 28th through the 30th. Tell us just a little bit about this. And I'm going to put the link in the bottom of in the chat down here so you can know exactly how to be a part of this. But tell us a little bit about this, Nick.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really about understanding what it takes to generate more leads online and how you can have a greater online presence. So the first part is really going to be focused on generating leads and how to actually track and creating a lead magnet, like I mentioned, that actually works, because it's not just about having a lead magnet, but actually creating one with proper messaging. I'm going to be talking about caregiver recruitment and retention and doing it differently. All right. Because again, how are we doing things that other people aren't doing? How many of your competitors have a caregiver recruitment video? Right? Even just a simple concept like that. And so when we really start to think, how can we be different? How can we stand out? How can we really sell to these caregivers to make them want to join our team? And then the last part is becoming an authority leader in your industry. And that's what it takes. Because if you think about what do leaders bring? They bring attention, right? And then what does attention bring? Attention brings relationships. It brings people wanting to do business with you. It creates new relationships. And so when we can establish ourselves as the leader in our industry, it's going to have a transcendent effect of being able to bring us more clients, connect with more referral sources, and attract more clients and caregivers. And so when we see that it can do all three of these things, which is such a huge part of home care, is that it doesn't need to be like so many things all at once. You can have one strategy online that's going to encompass all of this. Your online presence, bringing a bigger presence to you, attracting more attention, bringing more attention to you, is going to drive results in your business. And that's what it's all about: generating leads and getting results.
I love it, man. And I know I'm excited about it. Jess is obviously excited about it. So, thank you so much for coming on and talking all about this. Now, if you want to be a part of this incredible workshop, I know I am. I'm already signed up. I'm there. Jess and I are actually going to be speaking on a couple different things here and there. It's beautiful. Like, I really love how you have it set up. Go to the link in the comments. You'll find out all about it, when the times are, what the dates are, how you can sign up. And I know everybody always asks about recordings and all of that. Look on there and use that link. You'll find out how you can get the recordings. There's all kind of great stuff on there about it. So make sure go to the link, check it out, become part of the workshop, because it is really going to be incredible. And it goes into so much deeper about that simple way to get more home care leads using social media. All right. So, Nick, thank you so much again for being on the ActionCast. It truly is incredible to have a really social media master like you come on and tell us lay people how to actually get results out of this stuff that sometimes we feel like we don't understand. So, everybody, have a great day out there. Really focus in on the causes and the results that you are wanting, and understand it's about relationships. Most of all, keep taking action.